So here are the materials I will be using: a 5mm hook, as well as a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle. I'm going to show you more close up the details of the yarn, which is 50 grams and 85 meters long, and it's also compatible to a 4 and a 5mm hook. And here are extra details in German, of course. And yeah, I think these colors are really nice, and we're gonna jump right into it. I already have some hexagon squares prepared in these 2 different shades. I'm only left with one, and we are going to make that one together. I'm using a 5mm hook for this project, and we're just going to be making this hexagon right here. A hexagon has 6 sides, as you can see, and we are just making the last square that we need for this top. You are going to make a slip knot first, and then chain 4. After you chain 4, you are then going to slip stitch into the first chain that you would have made. Once you're done slip stitching, you want to chain 2. After chaining 2, this chain 2 is acting as a double crochet, by the way. You will then add another double crochet into this circle space available after you've slip stitched the chain. After you've done slip stitching these 4 chains, they're gonna have a space right here, and in this space we're gonna be feeding in double crochets. We need 6 pairs of double crochets. However, altogether in this circle we are gonna put 11 double crochets, with this chain 2 acting as the 12th. So after you have these 2, the chain and the double crochet, you will chain 2 and add 2 more double crochets. You will chain 2 again, 2 more double crochets, I like to hide my yarn as I'm working. Chain 2, 2 more, until you have 6 pairs of double crochets. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 more. You chain 2 and add 2 more double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the last pair of double crochets. After you're done with these 2 double crochets, you will chain 2 again and slip stitch into the second chain right here. Once you're done, this is the first part of your hexagon. You are then going to chain 2 again. I'm chaining 2 for this project mainly because of the yarn. I feel like this yarn, it works best with 2 chains. You chain 2 to start off your row. This is acting as a double crochet, by the way. And then you add a double crochet into the next stitch. Once you've added a double crochet into the next stitch, we have this chain space right here. We're only putting 2 double crochets into this chain space. So put 1 double crochet, you chain 2, and you add another double crochet into this same space right here. This is making the corner for the hexagon. These corners, they just consist of 1 double crochet, a chain 2, and then another double crochet. So once you've added this double crochet, we want to put 2 more double crochets into these stitches. Yarn over, add a double crochet into the first stitch, yarn over again, add another double crochet into the second stitch. Now we're moving on to the next chain space, which is 1 double crochet, you chain 2, and then another double crochet. So you're going to be repeating this process of adding 1 double crochet into the chain space, 2 double crochets into these 2 stitches right here, and then another one into the next chain space to make the corner. You chain 2 and you add another double crochet in here. After you're done with the corner, you move into the next stitch, and the next stitch, then into the chain space. For the second row, you can see that we have 4 double crochets on each side. Here we just started here, we're going to add the 4th when we're finishing the row, but it's 4 double crochets on each side for the second row. Chain 2 to make your corner and add another double crochet into that corner. You are going to continue the same process until you're done with this row. Chain 2, add another double crochet into this corner. Once you're done, into the stitches, and into this space. You chain 2, and then you add the last double crochet into the chain space. After this, you will then slip stitch into the second stitch right here. Make sure not to slip stitch into the first double crochet, just the second chain, I mean, of your chain 2 that is acting as a double crochet. This is how the project is looking like so far. And move on by chaining 2, and now we're adding a single double crochets into every single stitch, the same way that we were doing in the second row. So this chain 2 is acting as a double crochet, 1 double crochet into the next stitch and another into the next, making 3. Then you add 1 double crochet in the chain space, chain 2, and then you add another double crochet into this chain space. Add 4 double crochets into the stitches, these stitches. And then 1 into the chain space. So these chain spaces are acting as points of increase. As you can see now, we have 6 on this row, 1 here and 1 there to make 6. You chain 2 and add another double crochet into the chain space. So you're going to add 4 double crochets up here, 1 extra double crochet to make the corner. You chain 2 and add another double crochet right there. You just repeat the same process on all the sides of your square. keep doing this, and then I will see you when we reach this point of the hexagon. Just continue the process of chaining 2, adding 1 double crochet in the chain space, adding 4 stitches on here, and then add an extra double crochet when you're making a corner, chain 2 and put another one. And then I'm going to see you when we reach back here. I have reached this corner where I'm just putting 1 double crochet in the chain space, chain 2, another double crochet here, and then I have this 1 stitch I also need to put a double crochet in. Oops. And then you are just going to slip stitch into the second chain. The 4th row is the last row for mine, so we're just going to repeat the same process, chaining 2, add a double crochet into the next stitch, finish off the row, and you do the same thing once you reach the corners as well, which is 1 double crochet, chain 2, and you add another double crochet. One double crochet, you chain 2 and another one in that chain space. Now I'll add 1 2 3 4 5 6 double crochets, 6 double crochet stitches onto these ones, but considering that we're adding 1 extra one in these corners, altogether each row, each side of this hexagon is gonna have 8 double crochets for this row. So I am going to finish off these sides. Don't forget that we're adding 8 double crochets on each side in this row. So I'm going to finish off and I'll meet you in this corner. This is my last corner I'm making. And then you add 2 double crochets into the 2 stitches right there. Then you slip stitch into the second chain and you close off the project. I mean, you chain 1, then you cut the yarn. And like that, your hexagon is finished, as you can see. Now I have pieces like enough to attach and make the top. These square sizes are ideal for a size XS or an S. And I think if you want to make like a hexagon for your size specifically, you're going to have to measure your bust. After you've done measuring like your bust, you will then just divide that number by 2 and then try to make a hexagon that fits these measurements. That should be like the size cup for 1 hexagon. Now we are going to move on to connecting these pieces together, and I'm going to show you which connective strategy that I find best. To connect this top, I decided on the zigzag connecting stitch on this hexagon top that you can see right here. I used a zigzag connective stitch, and I think it looks really nice. It really complements the top as a whole, so I'm going to show you how to do that on these pieces. And I do think that it's best to first connect these hexagons, like the ones in orange, like the petals. You're gonna have to connect the petals first and then add the middle part later. That's how I do it for me personally. So I need 2 pieces to connect, and I'm going to show you how to do the zigzag pattern. Yeah. To connect my pieces together, I'm using this lighter shade of blue, and of course I'm going to show you how to do the zigzag connecting stitch. So as you can see, we start from like, I want to connect these sides, opposite sides, and here we have 2 chains, right? This first chain and the second chain. What you're going to do is slip stitch into this second chain right here, and you are going to pull your yarn through. We want to connect here to this corner as well, so you're going to also push your hook through the second stitch, the second chain, and we're then going to simply slip stitch so. And now your pieces are connected with a slip stitch. After you're done connecting these 2 chains, you are then going to slip stitch into this first stitch right here, the first double crochet stitch that you have on this side. You are just going to simply slip stitch into it. After that, you want to then slip stitch into the opposite double crochet, just a normal slip stitch. So what you're just gonna do is alternate between opposite stitches. The next double crochet is right here. You just insert your hook and slip stitch. Oops. Insert your hook and slip stitch. And then the opposite stitch is right there. Insert your hook, slip stitch. As you can see, like the zigzag pattern is coming out. The opposite stitch, like the third stitch, of course, opposite one, simply wow, you simply slip stitch so, and then the opposite stitch, you slip stitch into it as well. That one, pull your yarn through, slip stitch. The opposite one, pull your yarn through, slip stitch. Go again, pull yarn through and slip stitch. Opposite, pull yarn, slip stitch. And you can see that it is coming out. Let us just finish this part. Slip stitch. And then this last double crochet here, you slip stitch into it as normal. Oh. And you slip stitch here as well again. I also like to add another slip stitch into this chain space right here so that it's not as wide when we're done. Slip stitch. Too loose. And then my last slip stitch into here. You're just then going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. I think it's best okay, so here are the two pieces connected by the zigzag stitch. So what you're just going to do is arrange your squares in a way that leaves this space right here. I think it's best to always put like your middle part down first and then arrange your hexagons around it. So now you know that we have to connect these pieces. So also you could also use just like stitch markers to attach your squares together so that you can just work with them better. I'm going to finish connecting these blue hexagons together, and then in the end you're just going to have to add this, connect this square in the middle. You just do the same thing, just slip stitching opposite stitches. Right now, I want to demonstrate how you attach these corners right here. So doing the same zigzag stitch, you are going to be slip stitching on opposite stitches as I'm doing right now. Slip stitch into opposite stitches. So you will then now slip stitch into this chain space right here and then slip stitch into here. Now you will then move on to this opposite space right here. You will then slip stitch again. After you slip stitch here, you're just going to move on to these opposite stitches right here. Once you've slip stitched on this part, I'm saying slip stitch a lot. Once you've connected here, this area is not wide at all. It is secure, and you can just move on to the opposite stitches again, connecting your hexagons. So you're going to continue doing that all around, and then add a border across this entire project using half double crochet.